They seeing me? Good morning from the South African Institute for Aquatic Biodiversity in South Africa. One's got to add this on now. I thought I'd just take an opportunity to welcome everyone from the US, from Malaysia, and obviously from South Africa and many other places. Today's an auspicious occasion. We have revamped what we call our seminar series. I thought I'd take the opportunity to show you something which hopefully will come up on the screen. I don't know if that's come up on the screen, but it's a screenshot of a newspaper exactly a year ago, pretty much when we went into lockdown. And little did we know that a year later we would still be under the scourge of COVID. And there have been very many losses around the world, but one of the benefits that have come out of COVID is that we realized that we can really work and operate globally now with far more ease in terms of video conferencing. And that really means that we can get the word around science to a broader audience, and we can also collaborate a lot easier. As I said, on this call, we've definitely got folks from the US, Malaysia and South Africa, so we are straddling quite some time zones here. But I'd just like to welcome everyone to the seminar series. We're going to be doing this monthly. We're working very closely with SAIAB Africa, who provide the platform, and I have always been very involved in science communication and science development. And we'd like to thank SAIAB Africa. And I will now not take up any more of your time, but hand you over to Albert Chikona, senior scientist in the Institute, who will introduce our speakers from Malaysia. Thank you to everybody.
Thanks, Angus. Yeah, welcome everyone. I'll just give you a brief introductions of the presenters, the three presenters for this morning. So Melissa Martin is an assistant professor and marine biology program coordinator at the University of Malaysia, Terengganu. Her expertise covers the fields of systematics, taxonomy and phylogeny of aquatic organisms, with special interest in crustaceans, isopod taxonomy in particular, marine parasitology and marine symbiotic associations. Since completing a PhD from the University of Tasmania and getting appointed to a current academic position at UMT in 2016, she has published 14 peer-reviewed papers, one indexed book chapter, and several peer-reviewed proceedings, 3 popular articles. She received 7 research and outreach grants, produced 4 copyrights, and she recently received 2 gold awards for a national competition for a teaching and innovation award. The second presenter is Azwarina Azmi. She's a senior curator at the South China Sea Repository and Reference Center. At the University of Malaysia, Terengganu. Her work involves collections and data management of marine specimens and build up of the research gallery at UMT. She's also a consultant for various projects such as the preservation of marine organisms project for the Malaysian Marine Park Department, gallery project setup for the Ministry for Biodiversity interactive gallery using augmented reality and hologram, the Taras Beach and Spa Resort Gallery, school project galleries, country garden forest, city eco museum, international exhibition for transparent fish, the International Union for Conservation of Nature, red list of threatened species exhibition, and also the Terengganu Creative and Science Center exhibition. The third presenter, Juariah Muhamad, completed a BSc degree in marine biology and MAC in aquaculture at the University of Malaysia, Terengganu. She's now a creative officer and proud owner of her own company called E&H Creative Enterprise. Some of her notable works are reef stacks, which is the first Malaysian marine threatened card game, designing UMT's repository and reference gallery, and also Oceanally, which is an artist impression using resin art, and an important contributor. She's also an important contributor towards the development of the EpoXonomy. So we are going to hear more about all these achievements from our three presenters this morning. So I'll hand over to Melissa and your team. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Albert and Angus, for the introduction. A very warm welcome, very good morning, and good afternoon, and good evening to some parts. We have an attendee also from Australia. If you don't mind, Azwarina, can you please share the slides, please? All right, so our talk today will be about linking citizen science with Natural History Museum specimens. And I believe, in a way, SAIAB can very much relate to the work we do, and I believe it's replicable. And I think this can also encourage collaborative work in the future. So if we go to the next slide, please. So again, it's myself, Azwarina, and Juariah. So Albert has given quite an extensive explanation about our background, so we will skip this. And I will move towards what we're talking about. So for today's talk, we will introduce you about the South China Sea Repository and Reference Center, which will be introduced by Azwarina, and she will explain about the functions of the organization and its mission and vision. And then my part will be coming into my elective subject and how we actually collaborate to actually bring students in as volunteers. And Juariah's side will be taking part of my teaching module to actually create an innovation teaching module that actually won us our Gold Award. So without further ado, I will leave Azwarina to take the floor. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Nice to have you all this morning. First of all, South China Sea Repository and Reference Center, a simple name of RRC, is a unit, small unit under Institute of Oceanography and Environment, INOS, in Universiti Malaysia Terengganu, UMT in Malaysia. Okay, first of all, RRC is a small unit start from 2004 as a biodiversity museum where they collect all the marine specimens in South China Sea waters. And then until 2012, this biodiversity museum have changed their name into South China Sea Repository and Reference Center, where now we still use this name and the short form is RRC. Okay, until 2016, we have inauguration of INOS Research Gallery, where it's a small space when we have to display all the collection that we have in RRC. Later in 2017, gallery have been launched by the Malaysian Prime Minister Science Advisor Tan Sri Dato Zakri. Okay, this is the location of Malaysia, where we have South China Sea around Malaysia water. And then we have Strait of Malacca here. And then in Malaysia, we have Terengganu. This is why our university name, Universiti Malaysia Terengganu, is a name of state actually. And then this is our campus area near to the beach, where it's very convenient for us to do marine research here. Okay, under research building of INOS and Ecotrop, we share the same building. This is the new building of RRC, of INOS, sorry. Okay, this is the building of RRC, where we use the old building, and this is a working area for us and also the storing area for all the collection. Okay, for our organization, our small unit also have a small staff. Okay, not so many people in our organization. Our head of RRC is Dr. Izwandi Idris. He is an advisor for RRC. And then our technical part or operational people consists of me, Azwa, as a manager or senior curator in RRC. And then we have Nur Atika as an assistant science officer contract, where she always help us in collection management. And then we have Nur Amalina as a daily part-time worker, where she's always help in data management. Beside of this staff, we also have INOS or RRC research associate person, where we have these 3 researchers, Dr. Melissa Beta Martin, then Dr. Muhammad Hafiz Burhanuddin, and Dr. Sia Hinggiat. These 3 researchers help us in research, in education, and also in bring RRC forward. What we have, what we plan, we will discuss together to bring RRC more than just repository. Okay, this is our campus. And then what we do actually in RRC, we have 3 units. We have collection unit, research unit, and education or exhibition unit. So for collection, normally we do a scientific inventory. We do preservation, stabilization, storage, and maintenance of the collection. We also record the specimen in collection database using our standard cataloging system. Where in research, we do a taxonomy and conservation works, where the researcher combine collection with the specialist expertise in taxonomy, systematic, biodiversity, natural resources, planetary science, evolution, and informatics to tackle scientific question. Other than that, we also do an education program where all the researchers provide information for community, and then from there we create public awareness about current issues and conservation work. Okay, about our collection. Now in RRC, we have 4 main collection, where it is wet collection, dry collection, low temperature collection, and microscopic collection. Each of these collection have their own room or their own maintenance building. So we have wet collection for liquid or jar collection. For dry, we have a herbarium, like a seaweed, seagrass herbarium, or taxidermy animal like turtles or skeleton or bone. And then in low temperature, we have an freezer to keep all the tissue voucher, blood, body, fluid of the body, and skin blubber of the specimen. And then in microscopic collection, we have small and slight collection, such as plankton, zooplankton or phytoplankton. And we also have some small parasite collection and also pollen. Okay, from all this collection, for now we already have around 35,000 marine specimens, consists of animals, plant, geology, and genomic collection. In RRC, we use specimen reference number to categorize all the collection into phyla. For example, for coral, we categorize it into cnidarian, which is the reference number will be UMT, Universiti Malaysia Terengganu, SNID for cnidarian, and then the number is accession number for the specimen. Okay, for the SOP, standard operation procedure, we follow NPS, National Park Service Museum Management Program, where all the guideline and the standard we have been used since from 2012. Okay, this is our current collection in RRC. So the biggest collection we have in RRC is marine fishes. Now it's already achieved 10,000 specimens. And then The second biggest collection is genomic collection. Then we also have some Schneiderian collection, and then others phyla. So the special collection we have in RRC is a holotype and paratype specimen, where now it's more than 52 specimen, where we use it as a reference for research to identify a new species or to describe a new species. Okay, all scientists can loan this specimen for reference and publication purpose only. And then it also consists of rare specimens such as extinct species, albino species, or two-headed turtle, fossil, and others. This is some of an example two-headed turtle that we have in our collection. This baby turtle still survive until 3 months. After that, it's die because of the water content in the lung. And then this turtle share same lung, same body, but two brain. So they cannot communicate. One person eating, one person will breathe underwater. So it's not good for them actually. So that's why they dead. And then we also have some tooth shark here. And then we have a holotype of small crustacean. It's a amphipoda. And then this is example of our fish. We call it ikan gelama. This fish is a common fish in our waters where our community eat this fish. But when we found it, we have a new species in our water. So it's overwhelmed when we have a new specimen. Okay, beside of the collection, we also have recognized by Malaysian as a data provider. So we have been an advisor and data provider for National Oceanographic Data Center. And then we also contribute our data to Malaysian Biodiversity Information System, MyBIS. And we also contribute our data to Ocean Biogeographic Information System, OBIS. Okay, this is an example of our collection or data set in OBIS. Okay, we also have been recognized as a scientific organization for loan and exchange specimen by Australian government. And this is our register number NY101A for South China Sea Repository and Research Center. In Malaysia, we only have 2. The other one is a medical science or medical school. Okay, our collection history, our journey began from 2004, where we only have 38 specimens. We collect all the sample until 2012. We start to do our cataloging system, and then we manage all the specimen and catalog each of them. And then until now in 2020 and 2021, of course, now we already have more than 35,000 specimens in marine collection. So for database, we actually start from beginning where we use this hardcover book as our catalog book. So this is very simple system that we use. We just make a table and then handwriting all the information inside the book. After that, we upgrade the logbook or the hardcover book into a catalog book by printed by the company of supplier, and then we still have to handwriting in the catalog book. And then after 2012, we start to use Excel as our digital catalog, and we key in all the information about our specimen. So until now, we still use Excel for our information storage. And we also add on a new database, actually. We're using Rediscovery Proficio Element software, where it have 2 interfaces. One interface is for admin, where we control and manage all the specimen from our side. And then the other side is for public interface, where they can search the specimen and the information is limited. This is our facility that we have in RRC, where before we only have a simple room. We just changed a meeting room into a collection room, and then now we have a special room for dry collection room. This is one side of our dry collection room. This is collection of coral. And then on my right is a wet collection room where we put all the chordata and invert specimen. This is wet specimen. And this is part of it. So we have the tank also for big specimen. We also have a barrel for bigger sample, which you cannot put in the bottle. And then we also have one gallery, the only gallery that we have, a small space, but we try to put each of the specimen to tell what we have in our water and try to educate community. So this vessel that we have in UMT, where it's around 35 meters long, and the crew can be 30% for scientific crews. So we use this facility to collect all the sample during expedition, or we have arranged 2 or 3 years, one expedition. And we have all the scientific equipment on the boat, on the ship. And then we have a wet lab and dry lab also to process all the specimen. Some activity have been conducted by RRC. Actually, we go for sampling and expedition, and we cover all brackish water, marine water from mangrove area. So these some of picture show what we have been done in RRC. And we also do an outreach program for World Ocean Weeks, and we also a beach cleanup, and we do a mangrove planting, and we also help community with the market. We collect all the what we call this pre-loved item, and then we try to give to poor people. And then we also have a workshop when we organize a workshop. In the same time, we also learn from the expert. Every year, we will organize a workshop for staff and for others. So this is an exhibition that we have been organized for 2008, 2017, actually. We already organized a transparent fish exhibition. Actually, this is an international exhibition collaboration with UMT and National Museum of Marine Biology and Aquatic in Taiwan. So within a 6-month exhibition, we got around 15,000 visitors. So in the exhibition, we have around 1,500 specimens of transparent fish with different kind of species. We using a cleaning and staining protocol to combine art and science and to show the public this is what we have been done and what you can learn from this technique. And we also do a IUCN Red List exhibition in 2018, where we attract all the community to come to the exhibition to study and to know about your animal near your local community, what kind of species that have been extinct or endangered, to show them these species have to be conserved. And then we also have a knowledge transfer project to the Taras Beach and Spa Resort, where we put all the coral specimen inside a glass gallery. And then all the tourists can see the specimen and can learn what kind of species have in the Taras water in front of their resort. So this example of the exhibition. And then in Johor, a south part of Malaysia, we also contribute on exhibition where we set up a Forest City Eco Museum. This is the building of the museum. Okay, on the left is a laboratory, and then on the right is the museum where they can come around within these two buildings. Okay, this is industrial collaboration that we have in Malaysia. A little bit contribution from RRC, and this is example of the Eco Museum for a city. So this small area actually show a community about what they have in Johor environment. They have a mangrove habitat, they have a seagrass habitat, and they have a very diverse island there in Johor, where all of these species can be found in the water. So this forest city try to teach a community about all these species, what they have in the water, because not all people know what they have in the environment. So this is the specimen that we brought from UMT, from Terengganu to Johor. And then we try to display it here, try to educate the community there. This is a little bit like a diorama area where they have a picture and put some specimen inside. This show the seagrass area. And then this is a herbarium and of seagrass and seaweed. This is actually for community area. They will do an activity there. And then the exit door. Beside that, they have a mangrove ecosystem or mangrove diorama. And then they have a touch pool, but they don't do the touch pool activity, but just to show the life environment. Okay, actually this is acquisition of specimen, where before we process all the specimen, this is what we get from our researcher, from our student, and then from our scientists. So all of people actually cooperate with RRC, and then we as a team, we try to manage this collection as best as we can. Okay, I think next session I can pass to Melissa, right?
Yes, thank you, Azwa. But just going back to that first slide as well. From what Azwarina has mentioned, I really want you guys to drill this in your head, that remember that the repository actually is really run technically by these three amazing women, and of course with a great advisor, Dr. Izwandi. But because their work has started getting popularity, the fact that they've been reaching out to the community, that picture was to show that they were actually beginning to be more overwhelmed with the fact that there were more specimens being deposited to the museum. So yes, they do get help from interns. They do get help from other universities that actually do help volunteer, but not to an extensive amount. So with my background from Australia, I was based in the Museum of Tropical Queensland for a while. And I really had this enjoyment and passion for front work of exhibitions. So I was trying to think of how I could actually contribute back towards our repository, to our marine specimens, and also to get some sense of awareness, because our students were actually, we had this misconception that taxonomy is all about remembering and or memorizing names rather than understanding the science that goes behind it. So this is where I came up with the module of biological classification of marine organisms with the collaboration of Azwarina and her team from the RRC. So our module is nothing too complex. It's basically coming from these three course learning outcomes. Basically, the first one is the theoretical part. So I'm in charge of teaching students as to what taxonomy is about, the importance, and how it's the fundamental science of all other scientific fields. The second part of the course learning outcome is where Azwarina comes in. So the students actually get hands-on experience, knowing what students have to do from the time of sampling, where students get all sorts of samples that are from sampling trips, and how they have to fix, preserve. Some even get hands-on taxidermy work, right up to the extent of having the exhibition, which is in course learning outcome 3. So yes, the students itself, these are catered for undergraduate students. They have to crack their heads and come up with a design that actually attracts the audience and create awareness about the exhibitions that we have. Next as well. Next. All right. So for the first part of the learning outcome, no, before that as well. So the course learning outcome composed of my class lectures, and also we do engage people from the industry or any organizations that has taxonomic background to actually give talks to our students who enroll in the course. So like for this year, we have one representing from Singapore, and we also have Dr. Albert, who will actually be giving a talk towards the later parts of our course. And just so that students will have an idea of how this is applied elsewhere globally and the importance, and how we assess our students is through quiz, test, and finally a final exam. Next as well. Okay, so when it comes to the outline of the class, my Bible for teaching my students is basically from Judith Winston. It's basically like a dummy for taxonomists, really. And I teach them basic senses of speciation, literature search, museum collections, right up to the things about type. It's a very new field for students here. And actually they gain a lot of understanding and a better perception of what taxonomy is about. Next. So this is one of the best highlights of our work. So students, it's not just entering the lab and doing lab work. Basically, I really want them to experience what goes behind the magic that goes behind a museum. So that is why I've engaged Azwarina to actually share her knowledge and her experience, because sometimes she has a lot of case studies that she actually shares while doing this lab. And students are very much intrigued, and it's enlightened them in so many ways. So our work, what is interesting about this is we do not do a conventional laboratory written report. What we want students to do is that whatever hands-on work that they do, they will have to create a video of the assignments. And some of the best assignments are actually is what we use for promotion and awareness and education for outsiders. So we, whenever we go for exhibitions, basically we'll actually run this at the background so that people have an idea, this is what students are doing. Or I will even play it up on YouTube so that the next batch of students that will do come in, they actually have an idea what to expect for the lab. Next. So our module is divided into 5 parts. So it is the wet specimen preparation. And then we also have dry specimen preparation. So dry specimen preparation is where we ask students to do a bit of taxidermy. So we have some of our specimens, that leftover specimens that, they can actually sort of stuff cotton in, and they work on some of the old turtle specimens, and even for crustaceans. And I think one of the highlights for dry specimen is the resin block specimen. And later on, Juariah will come in to explain to you how we've developed the resin module in order to come to our Innovation Teaching Award. Then we also have specimen collection storage, where Azwarina and conservation treatment, where Azwarina teaches the students as to if they are molding of some of these specimens. So how do you conserve them better? How do you preserve, and how do we write on new labelings and whatnot, and all of this kind of things are taught. And the students also get hands-on with database management using Ocean Biodiversity Information System. So they will actually have to key in some of the data and even retrieve some of the data from OBIS itself. Next. All right, so I'll probably show you a very short video of some of what our students did. And the first video is about wet specimen preservation. So this is where we actually got students. This is during the time that students were actually still in the lab. But we also had a session that students actually had to do the lab during COVID. So we actually had to modify this as well. So I think in a way COVID sort of was a blessing in disguise, because it sort of made us think that how do we ensure that the students get the same outcome from this work without having to compromise their hands-on skill. So the videos have been very helpful for students of the previous batch who could come and do it in the lab. But at the same time, what we did also was that we actually sent toolkits for students in their workplace, in their homes, in order for them to actually do it hands-on at home. So I think this is actually quite similar to Dr. Albert Chapuna's class as well, of how to fix fishes. So we're actually very proud of the works of our students. Whatever assignments that they've done, they actually send it over to us, and one of the best works will actually be again exhibited. So even for this session, we actually teach the students how, other than prefixing it, how they will have to label, and actually how they will have to preserve for molecular purposes, and also right up to how to do photographic work, as you can see in this video. It might seem like very minor things, but the technique and the style of what goes on into this kind of work actually plays a very important part, so the students actually have an idea as to what goes on. Thank you, Azwarina. Can we stop this video and show the audience what we do for various presentation? So if you would like to check the video out further, you can actually engage with the panels here for the videos. And so this is what the students do for dry preservation. So we have taxidermy, and these are some of the specimens that they work with. So we want students to engage that there's no one fixed method for every specimen. So this sort of triggers their mind as to how they would have to solve taxidermy work with different kinds of specimens. The fact that reptiles are different, the fact that crustaceans are different. How would you actually dry preserve them differently? So these are some of the specimens that Ms. Azwarina has spoken about, with leatherbacks and green turtles. Some dating back to the 1970s. So again, as much as they're doing this work, we're also indirectly teaching them that the fact that the leatherbacks within our region is no more present, extinct. So we teach them that these are the reasons why we actually need to preserve and why we need to conserve, because obviously our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren aren't able to see live leatherbacks within our region. Because at one point they were actually very populous back before in the 1970s. The other thing that we want to notify is that within the selective, we actually cater to a very small group of at least 30. It is hard to monitor a big group of 100 students or so with this kind of detailed work. So we really ensure that those who are really interested in this kind of work we were able to be monitoring them better. And these are some of their works. For undergraduate students, we're actually quite proud of their work. So another form is using, again, invertebrates. So obviously the procedure is different. SAIAB actually does have their own wonderful collections of marine organisms. It'll be really nice if anyone who's interested in marine organisms, the Indian Ocean on our side, and also Pacific, want to check us out. And this will be a very good opportunity again for collaboration. Azwarina, is it possible to forward the video to the lesson site, please? Oh, okay. All right. So then the highlight of our work basically is the exhibition, as I mentioned. So our elective was just recently created in late 2019, actually. So we were actually really unsure of how we would actually be able to manage these students, especially the fact that we were actually opening up to the public. We were actually very proud of our undergraduate students. They actually worked very tirelessly. In fact, some even sort of probably slept in this temporary room for a while, just so that they could actually put up a very good exhibition. So every group had their own style of presenting. Some even created QR codes and questionnaires out of their creativity. And I think what was really nice is because it's outside the norm of classroom feel environment. So the fact that they could engage with the public, students had to realize that they had to engage with a broad range of students, a broad range of audience, from really young, small youngsters, right up to adults, and some experts in the field, or some not knowing anything about marine organisms at all. So it was an eye-opening session, not just for the students, but also for the public. We had almost about a few hundred over people coming in, and they gave wonderful feedbacks. And we were very proud of the works of our students. They hosted the whole event entirely, from managing the posters to creating public awareness on Facebook, etc. They were really very creative. We learned a lot from them too. Next slide. So these are some of the posters that they have created. Again, our job, myself, Azwarina, is just to monitor their work and guide them through the best of our means. But in terms of the creativity, it's entirely up to the students. So we were really, really very proud of their works. And we've gotten good feedback from the public. Next. So as I mentioned, like the group in the middle, they worked on horseshoe crabs. So this group was actually very creative, so much so they bribed people with sweets, but they also created their own QR codes to actually engage with the public, to assess their understanding of horseshoe crabs. The one on the right worked on fireworms, on polychaetes, and they actually created their own little mold. And the one on the left worked on corals, and they showed how they, what's the best means of storing corals and for transportation, things that they've learned during the lab and our theoretical lectures. So it's really good that students could apply what they learned in the exhibition. Next. So every semester, we will actually get some feedback form of the students' performance, and we were actually very happy with their grading because we were actually very unsure how students would perform, but it was very encouraging to see that the students' performance was actually very high. We had a lot from grades A and A minus, and our lowest is B minus. So our achievement was sort of, we actually got our achievements. Next. And we also ran this on the second semester. So it was a better improvement with the next cohort, where most of them started getting A's and a few were on A minus and B plus. So we're very proud of their work. Next. What I want to highlight here is that other than the ordinary course, what we want students to realize is their works are actually recognized. So we actually present them with a certificate for running this whole course for 14 weeks. And if at all they need any form of reference, they can actually refer to mainly Azwarina, but in terms of the theoretical understanding, this is where I come in. And so they, again, overall excellence in terms of students' feedback for us was actually very good. Next. And again, students' criticism, students' critique is always very important for our improvement. And we were actually very happy with the feedback that they gave us. And so much so, a lot of them actually wanted to retake it compared to the initial feedback of not really sure of what to expect from this. So we were actually very happy with the outcome. Next. And some of their works, since it was so good, they were actually presented at the Terengganu Creativity and Science Center for the exhibition. Next, Azwarina. Yeah, so this is where I am. I'm going to pass it over to Juariah. Again, out of the 5 modules that we had, one of the highlights was the resin coating and blocks of specimens. So we decided to pull this out and create an innovation module. So I will leave this to Azwarina to take over. So I leave the floor to you, Jo.
All right. Hello. Melina. Okay. Hi. All right. So this is where I will continue. So actually the learning output from all the specimens that they have in the repository center, we actually have collaboration with me. I'm actually a creative officer and also a marine biologist. So my first collaboration with RRC is actually during in 2015, where we transform this blank space into our actual present Institute of Oceanography Research Gallery. So from the moment that we make this collaboration by using the specimens, and how can we do to transform this to the public for awareness and education purposes. So Azwarina and I actually make a long collaboration up until today for this thing to work on. But then after that, I met Melissa way back in 2019 because I did produce my own line of resin arts. It's called Oceanally. So from here, I actually using resin and transform it into artistic art so that I can actually teach and educate public and also spread awareness of our marine biology sector and also the marine environment. So these are the samples that I want to show you. So this is actually different colors of our sandy beaches. So I try to express this in a resin art form where I'm using different color of mica powder to show the golden beaches, the olive beaches in Hawaii, the foraminifera or the pink beaches in Indonesia, and also the garnet beach, the purple beach in California. And then other than that, okay. So other than that, by showing the marine environment, I can also show the public awareness on the anthropogenic factor. So some of these are the 3 anthropogenic factors that we have been having here in South China Sea. So first is the microplastic. The second one is the runoff. And the third one is the oil spillage. So I'm just using different color of mica powder and also different texture and also thickness of the powder to make it either translucent or transparent or either opaque in color to create all of these images. And then I also want to show the public how am I going to connect my background in marine biology and to teach them the basic information that we have in our surrounding areas. So in South China Sea, we're actually having our seasonally harmful algae bloom. So mostly we have red tides and brown tides. We seldomly have green tides in Malaysia here. So what I'm trying to express in this artistic form is that by using resin art, you can actually show them this red tide, green tide, and brown tide form. And then as we all know, all of this is actually glow in the dark during the night. So I add on a glow in the dark form powder inside the resin, as you can see with other different product that I made. All of this is actually glow in the dark. Okay, so this is some of it where we just add on the glow in the dark powder. During daytime, you see it differently, and then during nighttime, you see it differently. Okay, so some of these out of the resin art, I'm also did some resin cast from the marine animals. So these are some of it. All right. So from here, when Mel first approached me about my Oceanally product, she said that why not we combine taxonomy science into our resin art. So some of these, because she actually discovered what I'm doing with my resin art. For example, I'll show you this pink beach in Indonesia is actually made from Homotrema rubrum or red forum. It's red in color and mixed with the white quartz sands to get the pink sand. And other than red forum, is actually made up of Tubipora musica, the organ pipe coral. So all of this organism is actually mixing with the sand, and you get the beacher series. Other than that, this is the squid series, where we actually have a seasonal called squid jigging season. So what I want to trying to show the public is that by having this squid, I can also teach them the other part of information of the squid. So this is actually a blue firefly squid from Toyama Bay, Japan. So it is a deep water species where seasonally during spawning season, March until May, it will come down to the surface and will exhibit a bioluminescence. It's like a blue-ray light. So from here, during nighttime, the squid is actually will be glow in the dark in blue color, like imitating the bioluminescence in the firefly squid. So from here, Mel and Azwarina, the curator, had come and asked me, can I do something different with their specimens to make it so that we can link the citizen science, and then using our actual or presently dull, it's quite dull actually, because all the wet specimens in the bottle or the dry specimens in the box and everything. So what are we going to do or trying to do to make sure that all of these specimens to be more appealing or more attractive to the public? That's why we came up with this idea. The EpoXonomy is actually our pilot project where we're trying to incorporate the convergence of taxonomy science with the art of epoxy resin. So I will show you this 6-minute video that basically will explain everything in it. So let's play it.
Hello and welcome to the South China Sea Repository and Reference Center at Universiti Malaysia Terengganu, where it focuses on marine collections. As you would see, typical collections will have both wet and dry, and the specimen would have its own registration number. However, it only displays very minimal information, and it can be very fragile, and the registration can lose. So what we as our team have designed is a resin block that incorporates both scientific and artistic components. So with the scientific component is that it comes with a QR code that links us to the RRC website, which not only has the taxonomy of the specimen itself, but also the ecological and economical importance, and a video recording of an expert in the field addressing marine-related issues. And in terms of the artistic component, is that it will be created in a diorama where the resin will paint a picture of its own, a story of its own. So the onlooker has to interpret what and critically think what is the story behind the resin. So I hope that you will nominate us for the event, and we look forward to seeing you on the day of the competition. Thank you very much.
Okay, so that's it. I will try to make it fast. So actually, what is EpoXonomy? It is the amalgamation of epoxy and taxonomy, hence creating the science of taxonomy through the art of epoxy resin. So from here, we are trying to illustrate and catalog the museum specimen that we have back in our repository center into a portable and artistic diorama, so that people can view it anywhere, anytime. So all of these are made to by means to create awareness and engage with the public on ocean literacy in line with the SDG 14, which is life below water. So what does EpoXonomy address? So actually, by harnessing the biological significance of museum and repository collection worldwide, we actually, in Malaysia, where Malaysia and Terengganu, bordered by the ocean, rich in economic resources for its local. But actually, we lack ways where we want to show them the marine awareness in the long-term sustainability of its resources. So by creating and linking the citizen science with the repositories and reference center or the gallery or even the museum in Malaysia, we're actually linking the citizen science by bridging the museum specimens with awareness, education, and outreach from the trained experts here. So what makes EpoXonomy unique? So the first thing first is its originality and the problem solving. So by come up with this new idea, we actually trying to harness the biological significance of museum and repositories collection worldwide. It's not actually applicable to our own specimen, but it's actually applicable to everybody's specimens and collection worldwide. So from this, the normal different bottles and in the jar and everything, we transform it into something like this. So the first left upper part is actually monetaria moneta. So it's actually a currency that we used way back in our old countries and Malaysia dated back in 18th. So we use this as a money or currency symbol. So what we did is our own present currency, our denomination currency is actually 1 ringgit or $1 for the blue one. So $5 is actually green. So $10 is actually red. So and so on. So we're trying to like creating something artistic, but in a way that is actually represent what the information it needs to be represent. So we're creating something that people can actually trying to tell the story of it by just looking or take information from these resin blocks. So all of this is actually practical and easy to use because we started to fix it into a resin blocks. It should be hard. So from here we can take it anywhere we want. So that's why we're trying to make this thing is like to bring museum specimens to you. So it is a unique portable diorama resin blocks, and it is a unique museum specimen in its full form of fragments. And it also, all of these specimens actually cataloged at our own South China Sea Repository and Reference Center way back in our university. So all of this is actually to interpret and relate the artistic diorama message with our current biodiversity issues and knowledge. And for example, this one, we can make it as creative learning kit too. So as you can see, the coral fragments, the acropora, is actually comes in resin block with the sunset color. The sunset color is actually a way of how we are trying to inform you that our global warming is actually taking changes on our marine environments, especially our corals. So from here, whenever people scan the QR code allocated or embedded to the resin blocks, they can actually link to our RRC website where we have the posters and information, and also the video links from experts in the respective selections. All of this is actually tackling multiple themes, such as the global warming, the invasive species, destruction of habitat and pollution, where all of this is in line with our United Nations goals, SDG 14. So for example, the right-hand part is actually our horseshoe crab. So we are trying to make people guessing, what is this about? So the green circle one is actually its eggs. So the blue one is actually its blood. So when you scan this QR code, then you can have information where we are using biomedical properties or medicinal properties from the blue blood of the horseshoe crab. So all of this, the one block taxons is actually in line with the SAMR model too. And then, why is it good to have something like EpoXonomy? This is because it is cheap and easy to replicate, which is any museum, particularly museum and repository, that intend to exhibit their specimen in a more cost-efficient way. So it will not cost you more to make something casting or some mold in a block. it's easy, and it's cheap. So other than that, it also has potential commercial value, where this easy learning and mobile toolkit will be able to be readily available to educate all walks of life, from schools and universities to other non-academic industries, and also turn into modules for educators inside the universities and outside the universities. And then other than that, alongside the object, the EpoXonomy itself, we also prepare a module alongside with the specimens, so that we can left it whenever we want, but we actually prepare a module that people can read on if they don't have access to the internet to access the QR codes from our website. So this module preparation is actually complete with all the specimens attached to the EpoXonomy itself. So with that, during our collaboration in 2019 with Melissa and the curator Azwa, so actually they won bronze medal, and also this project were funded by Sustainable Ocean Alliance, SOA. And we also present this for the first art and science competition from our own Academy of Sciences Malaysia. And also the module that we made and all the resin making and block artistic, we actually make a copyright registered in Malaysia. So other than that, the most recent is actually 2 gold innovation in our local university competition. It's actually national competition. So it's been a great journey with Melissa and Azwa itself, as me, a creative officer outside this subject. So I think that without the expertise of a taxonomist and also the expertise of a curator itself, I cannot mingle with them and try to make a big collaboration that actually can help other people also inside different museum or repositories. They can also do something like this to link the citizen science with our own natural history specimens inside our museum and repository. So other than that, the last one is what we have in our future direction is actually we need to link more the citizen science with our institute or our museum or our repositories by creating a new line of volunteer program and also augmented reality based exhibitions where we will incorporate a more technology, a more high-tech advancing technology with our specimen actual EpoXonomy. And then other than that, we want to bring this specimen outside, but in a easy or doable means. So we are trying to propose to make a mobile museum so that we can easily bring this specimen, all of the specimen, or not all actually, some of the specimen that we think relevant to the area. So anytime, anywhere that we want. So lastly, is actually international research and outreach grants. So we have been done this with the help of SOA and also Universiti Malaysia Terengganu itself. But if we have more grants coming in our ways, I think we can make a more advanced or more scope that easily available or different kind of style that incorporating the arts and science aspect with our scientists here. And not here also, with outside also. All right, with that, I thank you. This is all. Then I give it back to Melissa if you want to add anything. All right.
No, actually, Juariah, you ended it beautifully. So this is a wrap from all of us three. We thank you so much. And we actually pass the baton back to Albert or Angus. But thank you everyone for listening to us attentively, and for some of your feedback seems amazing.
Yeah, thanks Melissa and your team. Yeah, this is mind-blowing stuff. Well done, guys. Very exciting. We do have some questions and comments in the chat box there. So I'll just read all of them. So the first comment is from Francesca. we're saying what an excellent example of learning the basics of taxonomy and translating the knowledge for a practical and science communication outcome. Well done to you guys. Then Penny, also from SAIAB, is saying really great. Oh, okay, it's moved, it's shifted, sorry. Okay, so there's okay, another comment. The raising models would be great in schools, kids that can go out to schools in align with the education programs. Then a question from Francesca is to Azwa. She's saying, I am interested in knowing in what type of geological marine samples you keep in your collection and how do you preserve them? I guess through a dry method. So maybe Azwa, that question from Francesca.
Azwa, your mic.
Oh, sorry. Okay, maybe I can answer it live. So actually in geological collection, we have a sample of rock, fossil, and some foraminifera also, So, and also some minerals. Okay, all of these we keep in dry collection, and we preserve it using a dry method. And then we have a special storage for all the geological collection. I hope this answers your question, Francisca.
Thank you, Azwa. And then a question from Tai is there a citizen science program where citizens can log on to an app to identify a found animal or plant and give critical scientific information about where, when, and who found it? It's not directed to anyone, so to the rest of the team.
Thank you, Tai, for the question. If you're talking more specifically whether we actually created such a program yet for citizen science for marine biological specimens, not as yet. I think this one really requires extensive work, especially the cooperation of a lot of expertise in their respective fields. We're not quite there yet. We're hoping that we can actually get a lot more support from our university experts itself, and we hopefully will be into that direction.
Thanks, Melissa. Then Taryn is saying, this is absolutely inspiring. My mind is spinning with ideas, such exceptional work that you can all be incredibly proud of. Well done. Okay, Penny, fascinating presentation. Thank you so much. The work you're doing is wonderful. That's great. Nobushe is a really amazing work. Ladies, true definition of super women in science. We're feeling left out there.
Yes, it's sort of our work of, encouraging women empowerment, every time we proceed, more women empowerment, there we go, we've proven them wrong, yeah? But I think, yeah, also maybe just want to add a comment. Thank you for saying that it's inspiring work. Actually, the fact that we were quite amazed that a lot of what we achieved was really within 1 year, because we started with the module in actually late 2019, as I've mentioned. The elective started in November. And really all of this, awards, and it was just a trial and error thing. In fact, our first competition in 2019, we actually didn't get anything at all, but we did learn from a lot of our mistakes and feedback, and we decided, no, we're still going to improve. And yeah, I think that's how Juariah came in, and then more ideas started sprouting out as with future directions. But we realized that with at least with the regional aspect, we can go far, but it's definitely replicable on a global scale. And I think that collaboration will be really great and inspiring. And I hope you guys also would join forces with us, and let's make this more, globally applicable.
Yeah, thanks, Melissa. I think, if we don't have further questions there. If any of the people who have attended would want to get in touch with Melissa and Azwa and Juariah, you can contact them directly through their emails. I'm sure they'll be happy to provide further information. Yeah, thanks everyone. Really great to have you all. Thanks. Take care and keep well.
We thank you, SAIAB, for hosting us very much. And yes, definitely, please contact us anytime you would like our feedback or expertise. And thank you again for everyone for attending.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. Big
It's
one,
quite
isn't it?
funny when I read this need a silicon epoxy. Wow, so many epoxy resin will be need.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, thanks guys. Oh, we need a silicon epoxy. Right. Maybe you guys will find a way to South Africa soon, hopefully. Right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for all
Yes.
attendees. Take care.